Now, with another season of Formula E done and dusted, let's take a look at our top 10 drivers from this past year. Number 10. Edoardo Mortara. The Swiss-Italian driver had a bit of a renaissance driving for Mahindra in Season 10 after a rough first season of Gen 3 with Maserati. Over the course of the season, he out-qualified his world champion teammate Nick De Vries 8-6 and even got pole position at the first race of the Berlin E-Prix. While he was unable to drag his Mahindra onto the podium this year, he still managed a best result of 4th place at race 1 of the Portland E-Prix, one of 3-point scoring races for Mortara in Season 10. He finished 16th in the championship with 29 points and was a couple of positions ahead of teammate De Vries. Number 9. Jake Dennis. While it was a rough season on the whole for our defending champion, we still felt that Dennis's season was good enough to warrant a spot in our top 10. The Brit started the season relatively strongly with 4 podiums in the opening 7 races, but qualifying started to become a massive issue for Dennis as the season wore on, completely annihilating any chance he had of defending his title. The season also ended on a sour note, as his performance at his home race, the London E-Prix, was reminiscent of a bull in a china shop as he crashed out of his competitors right, left and centre. Number 8. Antonio Felix da Costa. For Da Costa, Season 10 of Formula E was a season that definitely started on the wrong foot, as he failed to score points in the opening 3 races and was out-qualified by half a second on average by his teammate and eventual champion Pascal Wehrlein. However, once Formula E arrived at the peloton races of Sao Paulo, Misano and Berlin, Da Costa began finding his form. He racked up wins at Berlin and Shanghai, won Misano on track and secured the double at Portland, showing himself to be something of a peloton specialist. Perhaps he should try his hand at cycling next. All kidding aside, Da Costa had a pretty good season, but his qualifying struggles throughout the season really held back any hope of competing for the championship, as he was out-qualified 12-4 and had the lowest average starting position in the top 3 teams. Number 7. Max Günther. It was another solid season for the German, driving for Maserati in Season 10. While the teammate comparison was a bit difficult to ascertain, as is always the case with rookie teammates, Günther wiped the floor with his teammate Jahan Daruwala, beating him in qualifying 13-3 and outscoring him 73-8 over the course of the season. He also picked up a win in Tokyo and a 3rd place at the first race in Misano to position himself as a championship dark horse. However, the second half of the season was a bit of a disaster, with 2 8th place finishes, his only points amidst a sea of DNFs and non-point scores. That being said, we feel that Günther had quite a solid season, given he was the 2nd ranked driver amongst the customer teams, trailing only Jake Dennis, and comprehensively beat, or as is often said in motorsport circles, Van Dorn's teammate Jahan Daruwala. Number 6. Nico Müller. Many, ourselves included, thought that Müller's performances last season against Robin Freins was a bit of a fluke, given how highly rated the Dutchman Freins was coming into his first and eventually last campaign at the Abt squad. However, Müller showed this year that he's the real deal and is overdue for a promotion further up the grid. He also beat the tar out of his teammate, Season 3 champion Lucas Di Grassi, out-qualifying him 12-4 and beating him in the points head-to-head 52-4. Finishing 12th in the championship in a car that should have been 17th at best, the Swiss driver massively outperformed the expectations of the Abt squad, beating drivers such as Sam Bird, Norman Nato and Sasha Fenestraz in far inferior machinery. Müller's best result was a sole 4th place result at the 2nd race in Misano, but he had also had a terrific run of form at the end of the season, finishing 5th or 6th at the final 4 races. With rumours abound that he could be joining Jake Dennis at Andretti for Season 11, we could finally get a chance to see what this driver can do in front-running machinery very soon. Number 5. Jean-Eric Vergne. The formidable Frenchman and Formula E's only double champion comes in at number 5 on our list. Qualifying was a real strength of Vergne this year, as he took 3 pole positions and improved his qualifying record against his teammate, fellow champion Van Dorn, out-qualifying the Belgian 10-6 in the group stage this season. However, the lack of energy efficiency of the DS powertrain really held him back again this season and prevented him from fighting for the top step of the podium. Despite that, Vergne was still able to nab 3 podiums and finish 5th in the championship of 139 points, well clear of teammate Van Dorn in 10th on 61 points. Number 4. Mitch Evans. Mitch, what has befallen you? 4 straight years with a chance of the title going into the final round, and all ending in heartbreak is an extremely cruel twist of fate. Even more so for a driver that's shown how quick he is in any rule set. For Evans, season 10 was another very strong season. He tied Nick Cassidy 8-all in qualifying, but was certainly the stronger qualifier in the second half of the season. While Evans only bagged 2 wins, 6 podiums was a very respectable showing. And although the start to the season was a bit slow, with only 1 podium in the first 7 races, Evans clearly showed over the course of the season that he belongs in Formula E's elite echelon. Number 3. Nick Cassidy. Formula E's other resident Kiwi was equally rapid and had an electric start to life at Jaguar. 3 consecutive podiums to open the season and 8 in the first 11 races meant that Cassidy could already put one hand on the trophy as the paddock left Shanghai with a 25-point buffer to nearest challenger Pascal Wehrlein. However, in one of the biggest collapses in Formula E history, rivaled only by Sebastian Buemi's Montreal meltdown, Cassidy scored 0 points in Portland with a spin on the penultimate lap of the first race costing him dearly. He then finished the season in London with a weak qualifying in race 1, followed up by a spirited fight back to 7th and an emphatic pole position in race 2. However, with that final race ending in tears, Cassidy was left empty-handed and will have to do it all over again in season 11 if he wants to be Formula E champion. Number 2. Pascal Wehrlein. While it may seem strange to not have the champion at number 1, hear us out. Formula E season 10 champion Pascal Wehrlein had a remarkable year and was generally quite consistent. Qualifying was Wehrlein's real strength and something that differentiated him from his title rivals Cassidy and Evans. His averaging starting position of 5.1 was best on the grid, and he also systematically defeated champion teammate Da Costa over 1 lap, with the head-to-head coming out at 12-4 in the German's favour. In the races, Wehrlein was quite consistent, with only 2 non-point scores at Misano and Shanghai caused by contact with other drivers. He bagged 3 wins, but only had 2 other podium appearances, meaning that the bulk of his points came from consistent 4th and 5th place finishes, which he had 6 of this past season. However, Wehrlein really shone when it mattered the most at the London finale, snagging a win and a 2nd place to cap a near-perfect weekend. Number 1. Oliver Rowland. We feel that Oliver Rowland had an exceptional year and taking the season as a whole was the best driver. In qualifying, Rowland made a mockery of his second-year teammate Fenestraz, out-qualifying him 12-2 with a medium delta of 0.123 seconds. Fenestraz showed in his rookie season that he was no slouch over 1 lap either, as he took 2 pole positions on track at Cape Town and Monaco. In the races, Rowland was able to overcome the energy deficiencies of his Nissan to finish 4th in the championship for 156 points, while winning 2 races with 5 other appearances on the podium. The other drivers of Nissan-powered cars, Bird, Hughes, Barnard and Fenestraz, were only able to get 1 win, 2 podiums and 127 points combined. On top of that, despite missing out on the Portland doubleheader due to illness, he was still within mathematical contention of winning the title going into the first race in London. Putting all of these factors into consideration, we feel that even though he didn't win the title this year, Oliver Rowland was the best driver bar none. Well, there you have it. Formula Everything's top 10 drivers of season 10. We hope you enjoyed this past season as much as we did, and we can't wait for season 11 to kick off the debut of this Gen 3 Evo this coming December. Thanks for watching.